Hi, my name's Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah and the celebrity host producer of your morning drive time show, 8 a.m., called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And I'm on a happy 88 mission. That's 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And therefore, I'm delighted to tell you we're going to start something new that balances out all the bad news and gives you something to smile about. Yes, I'm starting a compliment line. So if there's a compliment that you want to pay someone, maybe your boss, maybe that cute person that you've got your eye on, then you can do so by calling 888-909-1050 and tell my screener that I have a compliment for Dr. Marissa. So I'll put you on so you can give that compliment and feel good about giving it, and the person receiving will feel good as well. There's more than one way to be happy with Dr. Marissa. Keep it tuned here to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show at 8 a.m. weekday mornings here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
supporting Cancer Schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, iTunes, TuneIn, Rumble, Tiki Live, and more. And why am I in so many places? Well, that's because I want to splatter as much hope and happiness on you, so there's no gossip on this show, no scandal, no K words, no Kanye talk at all, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I have guests and topics to that end. If you've missed any of them, you can go to my YouTube channel. And starting last week, we are now live in studio where you can interact as well. So when I have guests like today, you can comment and say hi, ask questions, and you can always call in as well. And that number is 888-909-1050. That's 888-909-1050. I see eyeballs coming on now. I don't know who you are until you identify on the comments. So thank you so much for joining and being part of my Happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And I hope you had a fabulous weekend. It is Monday. And it's going to be a great week. How do I know? Because we're going to start it, as per usual, with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So you know the drill. What are 8 specific things that you are grateful for that you can't say friends and family because that's way too general. So I'm grateful for hot showers. That's one. I'm grateful for, I'm always grateful for, I love my bed. So that, I'm grateful that I got to see the dawn because of daylight savings. I'm grateful that the music was nice and loud in the gym so I could get woken up and a workout at the same time. I'm grateful that both of my hip replacements now are completely no pain. That's 5. I'm grateful that I get to have a wonderful lunch with my bonus mom and dad today. I'm grateful that I found my guest that's coming on today online on a whim, and I'm beginning to love my life on whims. And finally, I'm grateful that Polly is one of my new, Sam and Polly. We're breaking in Polly today, my wonderful engineer at KCAA. Polly, do you want to say hi? I made Sam do this too. Polly, are you there? Okay, we'll get him on later. He'll introduce himself. So I'm so grateful that today, what's super exciting is today is National Write Your Story Day. So what did I was, I want to focus. It's Women's History Month. So I'm trying to bring on as many women, and I love colorful women guests. And I went to my National Today calendar to see what day it was, and it was Write Your Story Day. And so I thought, I wonder who founded that. And I found her. And guess who's coming on after the break? That's right. Mitzy, the founder of Write Your Own Story Day, is going to be my guest today. So if you've ever wanted to write your story, if you know people that are, looking to do that, make sure they come on now and be part of the exploration of this fabulous topic. And I want to invite you specially at the end of this month on March 30th, I'm having a Get Happy orientation. So y'all know about my best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And today's Asian Oprah giveaway is an audiobook of this. It has exercises in it. And people have been asking me if there's a way to work with me in a group going through that book. So I thought, you know what, let's do a once a month, last Wednesday of the month, and talk about that. So it's going to be on Zoom. Go sign up at www.drmarissa.life. Don't go away. We'll be right back with my guest, Mitzy, and on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Gong. My name is Dr. Marissa Pei. We will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high-achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, you will be in a place of balance and inner peace, the way we were created. 谢谢.
If conforming to the world was exploring the world? What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time? Have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death. What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs
possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show you're on. NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, where you can get all my past, I believe we're on 657 shows, as well as my red carpet playlist with interviews with people like Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, and more. And you saw the promo, my new short film called PPP Post-Pandemic Possibilities. And if you would like some help in your organization or school or company to reintroduce work and in a less stressful way, just contact me at drmarissa.life and we'll bring that film in with some discussion questions so we can start back from this post-pandemic stress disorder in the best possible way. And now I am so delighted to bring to you someone that I met just accidentally. I call it #Naccidental because there's no such thing as accidents. Mitzy is a faith-based author, artist, and editor-in-chief of A Woman of Color magazine. Her passion in life is to help women and mothers of color to regain their sense of self and expression in the world. Through her work, she seeks to be a light and inspiration to all. Please welcome to my show, Mitzy. And don't talk yet. I'm going to give you some applause. Welcome, Mitzy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Can you talk a little bit louder or come close to there? I want to make
Can you
sure.
hear me better now?
Yes, much better now. Beautiful. So, what I did was I went online, and you know how I like the National Today thing and see what day it is, day of the croissant or whatever. And I saw that it was National Write Your Story Day, and looked at who founded it and reached out to her, and she's here, and she doesn't look old enough to be a founder. So how did that all come about?
I actually had entered into the National Day contest, and I at the time I was in graduate school. Like I'm kind of like an early kind of starter on a lot of things. I got accepted into graduate school like super early, so I was there. The timing was just right, and I was inspired to do this. At the time I had written my own book in graduate school, and I was like on my way to writing my second book, and I was just really inspired by the notion of people sharing their story. And I was like, this should be a national day. And so I entered into the contest, and they were like, yeah, let's do it.
That's wonderful. All right, we are having a little bit of a technical. Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, we're so it was a contest.
Yes.
And what is your definition of write your own story?
Yes. So I think that it's really about getting what you have in your head, in your psyche down on paper, down digitally, whatever that is, writing your story, your testimony where you have transformed, getting that out into the world where it should be. I always say that the world doesn't want you, it wants what you're carrying. And so, the idea of you just kind of like living for yourself is, in and of itself just very selfish. And it's not who God designed you to be. God designed you to really get what you have out into this world to really bless other people. So,
Oh, beautiful. Now, I can tell you're a recovering overachiever. If you went to grad school, what was your degree in?
so my first degree in undergrad was in psychology and studio art. Like you can kind of see from the background. I love
Yeah, I'm glad I opened it up.
yeah. And then my second degree, I got accepted into grad school like my junior year for theology. So I studied theology and then I became a chaplain. I know my resume is all over the place. So I was a chaplain in a hospital for a minute.
Wow.
Now I'm an art teacher. I know.
That is so cool. And now you're a mom. So
Yes.
you're a mother of color. So you're now focusing on that rebranding. Tell me a bit about that.
Yes. So I really found healing in documenting my journey of motherhood, early motherhood, especially. It was so many difficulties that I had to overcome. Like when I first got pregnant, I got married, pregnant, started a new job, and moved out all in the same week. Okay.
Wow.
So, like going through my pregnancy was just very stressful, and all of the newlywed stuff that comes with it and the finances and getting ready for the baby was already stressful. And then the baby process of like him being a newborn was just really stressful. I overcame and really dealt with postpartum depression. And I think that your greatest kind of test is your greatest testimony. And so I think that my struggle in motherhood is really the thing that God has really ordained me to speak about in this season, because it's really hard, especially as a mother of color, just quickly have giving birth to my son. It was a lot with insurance and just the treatment that I got at the hospital itself. A lot of women of color kind of go through that.
Elaborate on that for me.
Yeah, so just Black women in general are more predetermined to have pregnancy complications, to lose their babies, go through those kind of things while they're giving birth. And I think that part of
why?
Yeah, I feel like from my standpoint, I dealt with a lot stress wise, rushing to get out of the hospital due to lack of insurance, lack of respect, rushing for you to be healed in a lot of ways. And my blood pressure was so high that I ended up staying in the hospital an additional week because they couldn't get it down. But then you had the nurse come in like yelling at you, like, you need to get up. You're supposed to be walking, this, that, and the third. So it's just so much on you. And as a woman of color, you're expected to heal faster and you're expected to not complain. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like people of color don't go to the doctor, because they're like, you're fine, nothing's wrong with you. They've done studies where Black women and women of color have gone to hospitals and doctors ignore them or ignore their complaints, and then they're sent home and they have heart attacks and stuff like that. Wow. So it's not really believing that they have health problems and not taking their health seriously, that I think is the major concern to that. Yeah.
Well, that's it just reminds me of that documentary 13th, where we don't think we have biases, but we all have biases. And the silver lining in what happened to George Floyd is there's no longer the question of are Black Americans treated poorly or differently? And, I do valuing diversity in the organization as an organizational psychologist. And I'm always saying, if you're in charge of giving out loans, if you're in charge of treating people like doctors, if you're in charge of hiring and you have biases that you don't acknowledge, then we're going to continue this problematic, unequal treatment of Black Americans. And, I didn't even think about this area of discrimination in for moms, in the hospital. So thanks for bringing that up.
Talk to you was kind of rough. So you have to have a thick skin, like when you go through that process of like being broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to give inspiration, especially to moms of color. Like, I know that every community has its struggle, but in terms of my experience, I was damaged for it. It took me like a good year to kind of feel okay and safe. And to overcome that trauma of even going to doctors because that you're not going to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but on the other hand, I'm glad that you're using it. I love using pain. Pain is mandatory, suffering's optional, and using that to help. Now, I'm not familiar with postpartum depression, so it would be wonderful if you could, from your experience, sort of explain it and help me understand what that is, so that those who are listening, who have experienced that, can find some comfort in how you healed from that.
Yeah. So I didn't know that it was as common as you would think. Kind of like going through the pregnancy. I was kind of sad, and I had to kind of deal with a lot of depression earlier on in my adolescence and young adulthood. I'm still a young adult, I know.
I was gonna say you use oil of Olay or something, because every time you say when I was younger, I'm like, okay, please.
I know. So after my pregnancy, and that that's the postpartum, after the pregnancy process, a lot of moms kind of go through the baby blues, but there's a difference between baby blues and postpartum depression. So baby blues is just kind of like the occasional sadness, and you're overwhelmed from the whole process of being a new mom, whereas postpartum depression, it is elongated. It's not just like for 2 or so weeks. This is like a longer period, and you have extreme highs and extreme lows of just feeling very, very defeated, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to take care of baby, it being a struggle to make it through the day. And so that's pretty much the overview of it. But it was really difficult. And at the time, I'm an old lady baby, so I don't really have that much support from my mom, and my dad did as best as he could, but it was hard not having that built-in support that some people have, where their in-laws come and they spend, a long period of time. I didn't have that luxury. So it was all on me, like as a C-section with the baby, and then my husband was trying to work. So I had so much going on with just me. It was hard. It was hard. And don't be afraid to, I would say, go out, seek support, mention it to your doctor, because there is a questionnaire that the doctor will kind of give you after baby to see if you have postpartum depression. And so that's what I took, and that's what I was diagnosed with. And I got medication and help on that side.
So do you remember what some of the things on the checklist are, just in case we have some moms?
Yeah, like, do you cry most of the day? Do you feel depressed? Do you have a hard time getting out of bed, doing simple things? Do you have thoughts of ending your life? Just those kind of things show up on paper. And I didn't want to fill it out, honestly, because I have a background in psychology, so I'm thinking, oh no, I don't put that on there. But for some reason, I was just like, I got to get help. I got to fix my life so my baby can have a good mom. Right. And so me thinking about him drove me to be honest on the questionnaire.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So if you're wondering who I'm talking to today, her name is Mitzy, and she is the founder of today's National Write Your Story Day. She's telling us her story. I'm so glad you're with me. We have some new, no sound, interesting. We have some new people joining us on Instagram, Doc Balance. We're going to take a quick break to adjust my volume here and to listen to some promos and the news here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Want to find happiness? Well, it's looking for you. 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are by Dr. Marissa Pay is a self-help book on steroids with practical concepts and exercise that will help you find the love you've been looking for inside yourself. It's a cross between I'm okay and you're still okay. And if you do the exercises, you will never hate yourself the same way again. For an autographed copy of this #1 bestseller, go to www.drmarissa.life or just order at Target, Walmart, and Amazon today. You can choose happiness because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering is optional.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Are you having a tough time feeling happy about what's going on around you? Do you want to work with someone who knows how to choose happiness no matter how fluxed up things are? Then contact Dr. Marissa, best-selling author of 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And that wherever includes the middle of a pandemic, because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering is optional. There is hope and happiness for you right now, especially now. Schedule your Zoom Get Happy session at www.drmarissa.life today. Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah, and I'm on a happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So I'm delighted to tell you that we are opening our phone lines again on my show. If you want some happiness coaching for questions about your relationships that are driving you crazy, or should I stay, should I go, or your health and wellness, or I hate my job, then you've come to the right place. Just call 888-909-1050 on my show. Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show between 8 and 9 weekday mornings. And I'll be happy to help you up-level your happiness, because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering from it is optional.
back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podchaser, JioSawn, TE Live, Rumble, and more. Thank you for joining me. I am your host, your hashtag positively opinionated host, and I'm so grateful that I get to speak to the founder of Make Your Own Story? Yeah, okay. I was going to tell it like it is. Make Your Own Story Day. Her name's Mitzy. She's not only talking about the Make Your Own Story, she's also talking about postpartum depression. And I think this is a great topic. I honestly have not covered this in the almost 9 years, so it's about time. So if you know anyone who has it or is going through some sadness that seems to linger longer than just a few times, then you'll want to invite them to the show. You can ask questions and call in to 888-909-1050 or chat on my live stream YouTube as well as Facebook, and now on Instagram. And we have Michelle and Gloria and Nat and, oh my gosh, a past graduate student of mine, Sohi, just joined on Instagram. So I am super happy. We're having a party. So Mitzy, what should people do when they are feeling, you mentioned, going to your support system or checking with the doctor. Is there any self-talk that you used? I mean, you're familiar with psychology, your degrees in all of that. So what are some practical ways that people can deal with postpartum depression?
I think the number one thing is don't be.
1 second, you're not loud enough again. Let me make sure. Guys in the studio, can you turn her mic up for me? I don't know if you can. Thanks. She's got a nice quiet.
I do have a very quiet voice.
Yes, you do, especially compared to me.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is to not be so hard on yourself. Even if you're having a rough day, I think being practical is key. So even if I started doing one thing a day. If my goal for today was to take baby to the doctor, that's all I did for today. I figured out how to take baby to the doctor, and I took baby to the doctor. And I wasn't hard on myself to do anything else, because I think that, you have to really be gentle on yourself during this period. It's hard already as it is. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself trying to get yourself back to normal when you just went through a major transformation of bringing a life into this world. So you have to be gentle on yourself. Another thing is to take care of yourself. Small things, even if at the time, I'm going to keep it real with you, I didn't cook, but
I make a lot of reservations.
Who does that with a new baby? So what I did a lot of times, even if, Publix has those like mini little dinners that has the vegetables and all the things that you need that you could pop in the oven, practical ways to, nourish your body, because your body really needs that nutrition. You can't just like survive off of like potato chips and stuff. Like, you're going to feel awful because what goes into your body matters.
Mm-hmm.
So really nourish yourself and take out time for you. When baby sleeps, you get your rest in, do what you need to do, take that shower, go with baby's schedule. Don't fight against it, because you'll end up frustrating yourself. Like, oh, this baby can't stop crying and I want to take a shower. And go with baby's schedule and work your schedule and rest around that baby's.
Yeah, great tips. I know that the sleep deprivation is certainly a factor when you have a child in the early days in Chinese culture. The mom is allowed 100 days not to do anything. 100 days. Now that doesn't happen anymore, but that was the tradition. And I think we have combination up leveled our expectations of new moms, which is unreasonable. Not giving them a chance to recover, like you said. We say things like, "Oh, pop the baby out. How soon are you going to go back to work?" And during that time where you should be sleeping with your child, you want a super clean house, so you're cleaning up. It's like you're hurting yourself through your own expectations. Whether society has put that on us, or organizations, or whoever it is, you don't have to take that on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Be
Great.
gentle. Be gentle.
Yes, be gentle. Be gentle. Beautiful. Anything else you want to say that before we go back to the story?
So I mean, nothing as it relates to postpartum depression. I think to really seek out, talk to your best friend, talk to your friends, vent. Venting is important. I think that venting is a spiritual thing. In biblical traditions, they call it lamenting. And so it's important to get it out. Lamentations, get it out. So don't, harbor everything in and be like, oh, why am I feeling like this? You need to let it out. It's therapeutic. It's healing.
Interesting. I never knew that. And I am a huge believer in venting. I do a 2-minute vent. So he should remember this from, I taught at Alliant University and UCLA in the business school, and vent partnerships are a way to be human and express, but you only have 2 minutes to let it out. And then after that, you're not allowed to talk about that again, because you don't want to make it a habit of complaining. Yeah. Just so you know, I started the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa, because I was honestly just tired of hearing people complain. So I'm allergic to whining, but venting and lamenting are very good. Beautiful. I want to go to your art in the back. So,
I have so many pieces. Some of these I made when I was in college. Some of them I made when I was in graduate school. Oh, there's the National Day right there. So, I have some of them all around. My lovely husband, he put some of my work just going all around. So I come in and I feel like I'm at a gallery studio when I come home. And it's just so, it makes you feel good when you come into like a house full of you. Here's like
That's beautiful.
One. Yeah, so many on the wall, just a house full of me. So
that's beautiful. So I think, and see what you think about this, 2 things. Everybody should write a book, whether they publish it or not. They should write a book about your experiences, because 1, it's cathartic, and 2, it allows you to see what you were saying before, that it's not your life. It's what you learn that can help others, right? So it's not what happened to you, it's what happened for you that you're in a position that you can help. Like today, you're in a position to help someone who's going through postpartum depression in a way that I could never do. So I believe that, I agree with you, that's something we should do. And I forgot what the second one was, but how should you go about writing your own story?
Yeah, so I have a couple of practical solutions. I broke down how to do this in one of my other books. So my first book was God, Will I Ever Find Happiness? The Journey Towards Healing Your Inner Child. That was kind of like more about my early childhood trauma. And then I have another book, Stop Putting Your Happiness on Hold. And so that was like about breaking down ways to do things in practical little bites. And so like I would meet people that say, I don't have time to write a book. I have so many things going on, but yes, you do. What the way I write my books is that I have things bite-sized. So I might spend 10 minutes a day writing 1 to 3 pages, and then do that every day. And next thing you know, 1 page turns into another page, and then next thing you know, you have a book. So it's about really being intentional and setting aside that time every single day or every couple of days or once a week. Even if it's once a week, be intentional, and before you know it, you'll have a book. Yeah.
Beautiful. How did you meet your husband?
In high school. So he's originally from Liberia. And I'm from here. I'm Florida. So he came over here after the Civil War in Liberia. Yeah, so it was. I know it's an interesting story. So he came over here, and we met in high school and started dating, and we were still dating in college, and now we're married. So
That's so cool. And what are your roots?
So yeah, so I'm African American. I think I did ancestry.com. You know, they say you're just a whole bunch of stuff on ancestry.com. But from what I gather, I'm mostly African.
Did they isolate a region in Africa?
I believe it was Cameroon that it was mostly, and then it was like some Asian descent.
Yeah, I was. No wonder I found you.
He was from the Philippines. Yeah.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. Well,
Yeah.
it just shows we're all related. We're all
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, did you think you would be doing this when you were a kid?
No, I had no idea. I think that my childhood, it didn't really allow for kind of, all of this stuff that was going on. I think you hit it on the nail, like, oh my gosh, you're so young. But I think that my story of growing up in childhood was that I was kind of forced to grow up before my time. So I was forced to mature much faster into the world. My mom, she was um, quickly, kind of going through a lot of her stuff, addiction, and I went through homelessness, all of that, and I was kind of forced to, step into that role of adult before I even knew what an adult was. So I didn't have much time to really think about what I wanted to do. And my dad, he took custody of me when I was in high school or so. And so the transition of him taking custody of me, I kind of excelled in my academics and then went to college, grad school, and stuff like that. But overall, I never would have imagined that it would have gotten this far. I think statistically, I don't think I'm supposed to be this far. I'm riding off of grace, grace and favor. Definitely.
Did you grow up strong in faith? Because of your father, mother, or anti?
I think that it was an underlying sense of it, even though it wasn't talked about in the household. My mom, she didn't go to church a lot, but she prayed in the morning. I do remember those times. Yeah, so it's just kind of been here or there. I feel like I had a close connection to God, and especially my grandmother. My grandmother passed when I was 10. And I know, I just feel like she's my guardian angel just watching over me. So I feel like there is some kind of spiritual connection to God and my grandmother too. So that's been helping me along my journey of getting to where I am now.
Mm-hmm. Did that so at what point did that sort of factor in? Because you didn't grow up with it. And from what I, growing up with a mom who is an addict, it could not have been easy. Yeah. So did you have like a burning bush?
I would say that in some ways, when I went off to college is when I leaned more on God, because, when you're at college, there's really not really many people to lean on, if that makes sense. And I went off to a whole new state in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Florida. So I had no choice but to find peace and comfort in something that was greater than myself. And so that's when I really started to get closer to God, to really go to church, and not just church in a religious sense, but church to connect with something that was greater than myself. So
beautiful.
That's when it catapulted, because by yourself, you're forced to look at your purpose. why you're here, who you're meant to impact, why was I placed on this earth? But when you're by yourself, you feel it much stronger than when you have all these distractions around you. You can't really focus on yourself.
Beautifully said. Anytime anybody says they're faith-based, I get a little nervous because I don't want them to come and preach because I'm allergic to religion. However, I absolutely am 100% with you. That personal relationship with something bigger than you is a gift of life that you can do whatever you want to do or put your mind and heart to, but when you have a feeling that you're not alone, and things are not random. There is my particular, I call him my UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers every morning when I pray and meditate. That's it's such a freeing concept. That is available to everyone, except if you're an atheist or an agnostic, because then that's the sense of separation and isolation. And so I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but I'm glad that you introduced it the way you did. It was a beautiful journey for you, and thank you for sharing that. So how can we find you, and what are you looking for as far as what you're sharing and how people can benefit by knowing you?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram at _ a mother of color, COLOUR, and also at a mother of color on Facebook. Also, my website is amotherofcolor.com. And so I'm just looking to inspire, to uplift on my social media platforms. I'm always giving out inspirational messages via video, whether or not it's posting, showing my family and my testimony. I'm really out here trying to just support and also to get other women of color on board and helping to help lift them up, because we rise by lifting others. And so I think that it's really important to share platforms like what you're doing to give others a voice so that, we can help each other. Nobody makes it by themselves. It takes a village to raise a child. And I think that it takes a village to really help one another. So
absolutely. Have you done anything with the discrimination we talked about in the first segment about the unequal treatment of Black women in the hospital, the conscious or unconscious bias and racism?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on developing like a project and a book around that. I really want to get it put in a book and really on paper. That's, my next goal, and to bring awareness to that as well, because it's so foreign to a lot of people. Really don't think about that kind of experience that they go through. So I think my next challenge for myself is to really put it down on paper and really promote it and share it with you and the community, and to really bring that kind of exposure.
Good. I just had a thought. There's a lot of diversity and inclusion efforts now in hospitals. I actually consult to Kaiser Permanente on that, and Cedars-Sinai. So I'm wondering in Florida if there's a way to hook into that connection and work with them, so you can specifically give them the awareness of subtle versus unintentional, intentional bias. That would be a good thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
How old is your son now?
Oh, he's 2. He is 2.
That's so great. You don't have a picture? I was going to say he can jump on your lap.
No, you're fine. You are fine. Hold on 1 minute. Pictures.
Oh, we can go to his room. Oh,
yeah. So
what's his name?
This is Genesis.
Genesis. What a powerful name.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Oh my gosh, he's adorable.
Yeah.
That's great. Is he in school right now?
Yes, he is. while mommy does this.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So the last question that I ask all my guests is, to who or what are you most grateful for? To who or what are you most grateful for?
I think that I'm most grateful to my son for giving me the fight that I needed to be better, to be a better mom. I think that at first, when I found out that he was coming into this world, I was scared, but it was the best thing that happened to me because it pushed me to really fight to live. So I'm the most grateful to him for coming into this world for me.
Beautiful. I'm going to give you something I don't give to all of my guests, but because you are taking, this is my favorite kind of guest, taking things that are difficult and helping other people with them, you're getting Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Thank you.
Thank you. And where can we find it? Your books or your
Oh, they're all on Amazon. Yes, they're all on Amazon.
Can you tell me the titles again?
God, Will I Ever Find Happiness? The Journey Toward Healing Your Inner Child. Stop Putting Your Happiness on Hold. And the other one is a workbook, Working Towards Your Dreams. And yeah, it's those three, mainly two, but one workbook. And then I also have my magazine, A Mother of Color magazine, that's also out.
That is so great. So is that a digital or is it actually, it looks like a hard copy?
You can order the copy as well. So it's mostly digital on issue.com.
Okay. So maybe, do I qualify as a mother of color?
Yes, yes.
And while we're talking about that, I want to make a stand right now. No longer are Chinese or Asian women to be called yellow. Don't like that color. Doesn't look good on me. From this point forward, we are golden.
Yes.
Yes. So
yes.
Golden is my color. So I will contribute an article on balanced parenting that might be a good ad for the magazine. How's that?
Thank you so much.
Of course. Looking forward to seeing that magazine. Go to awomanofcolor.com for connecting with Mitzy. I hope you've enjoyed the talk that we've had today. I know that it's so important for all of us to get that book out of us, whether you publish it or not. It is time for us to stop being driven by whatever's on the news or whatever's in front of you on social media. You are the boss of you. You have a beautiful life. You're one of a kind, wonderful. As I've been agreed to by Mitzy, she agrees with me. So now you don't have a choice. Please see yourself as a beautiful story, a love story for yourself. All right. Thank you so much for coming on, Mitzy. Very grateful, and good luck in everything that you're doing. And I'll see you when I see you. And that is it for show number 657 of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room here in Southern California, wishing you a life where you're 88% happy. And why 88%? Because if you're 100% happy, you're dead. Don't want that. 8's a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune. So may you have 88% happiness for the rest of today. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world. Peace through inner peace. And have the best day. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Tomorrow, it is take my advice, I'm not using it, and I'm giving advice that I may not use. So tomorrow is Caller Compliment Day. So if you have a compliment for someone, please come on, 888-909-1050 as well. If you have a question for me, Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, then that's tomorrow on this show. Here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. Have the best day ever.